the second battle between Yawning Firefly and Panda Warrior, Westphalia versus Kingdom of Mercia. So Westphalia is being commanded by Panda this time. He's bringing bringing a peculiar army, but a good one. Axe Warriors, flanked by some Sex Warriors in the centers, flanked by Axe Warriors. Then he has only 4 archers this time, but 2 noble javelins. Then he has a bunch of scout cav and Saxon cav. A lot of scout cav and Saxon cav, and these units can be absolutely devastating to enemy cavalry if they fire their 90 missile damage javelins, pull out and engage. They can hit far above their weight class. And some sword veterans here in the back and a hearth guard for staying power, I guess. For Mercia, we have a front line of feared spears. Then we have feared archers. We have select axes. And once again, using a staggered approach, we have Royal Thanes, Royal Thanes, Royal Companions, Royal Thanes. So a lot of these Royal Thanes, and they will do exceptionally well against all of the Saxon infantry. The Saxon infantry overall being lightly armored with relatively high charge bonuses. Aside from the Seaxes, the Seaxes have a 5 bonus versus infantry. Shield Wall gives them a 15 bonus versus infantry. So they are good second line infantry to pile in Shield Wall. Hold, charge in with the Axe Warriors, follow up with the Seaxes. Now the Saxon cavalry has nothing to fear from the cavalry of Mercia, really. They need to be a bit concerned about these feared archers. They can do a lot of damage to the Saxon cavalry. These noble javelins are a peculiar unit because they have a very low melee damage, but a very high charge bonus, and quite a bit of armor. And of course their javelins against cavalry, devastating. The feared spearmen looks like they have been taking a bit of fire here, but again, this is not a good position for Panda Warrior to be skirmishing from, because he's going to be firing uphill. So if Yawning Firefly takes this forest, then Panda Warrior has to keep pulling back. But then again, it turns around here, where he's going to be able to fire downhill if Yawning Firefly chases him across the map. Relatively equally balanced here in terms of skirmish prowess, but look at what Panda is doing here. He's setting up a crescent shape and pulling Yawning Firefly into it. He has his cavalry on his flanks, and he's just pulling his center in while keeping some infantry on the flanks there.
The enemy are ambushing us!
The noble javelins got some volleys off on the feared spears. Not the target they want to be firing at. But then again, the Mercian cavalry isn't really a threat. It's only medium. It's very fragile.
The enemy has discovered our hidden troops.
Now the feared spearmen have lost a lot of men here, and they are going to charge sideways into the archers. The Axe Warriors charging into the feared spearmen now. They should be able to remove them very, very quickly. More engagements over here. Axes versus spears. Axes do seriously good job of killing off spear units. The Seaxes going into shield wall. So the horsemen, look at what happens to the horsemen now, being fired upon from the archers. Horsemen gone. The scout cavalry charging into the feared axemen, and they just do such a good job. The Seax warriors were in shield wall here, which helps them a lot together with the supporting fire. And look at the scout cavalry just devastating the feared axemen. Same thing over here. The horsemen are getting devastated. The Axe Warriors getting their kills in, and the Scout Cavalry just continues into the feared archers. Although a very fragile unit, they can be very, very dangerous. Pulling out, they're going to lose a few men, but it wasn't that bad because not too many of them were engaged. So the Axe Warriors chopping up stuff. Flaming shot pouring into the Scout Cavalry. But overall, things are looking good for Panda. He has his cavalry units available in the back here. Pulling away, leaving the Axe Warriors in the fight to die. The Royal Thanes keep pushing. Here we have Sayax warriors, not in shield wall, they're pulling away. Very depleted unit here charging in. It's going to get some more kills. Put pressure on the archers, so everything from Panda Warrior is just pulling back at the moment. Pouring the fire into select axemen here. This scout cavalry going for the horsemen.
Our men have given up and are running.
The horsemen don't have much in the way of support, so the scout cavalry could take them off the field. The scout cav here takes the axes off the field, and now the path is wide open for them to get into the archers. They're going to be charging uphill, so it's going to be slightly less effective, but more than enough to kill a few of these archers. However, the flaming arrows are taking their toll on the scout cav, but this scout cavalry has more than done its job. And here you see the Royal Thanes, fairly vulnerable to high damage missiles. The noble javelins are firing at them point blank and killing a lot of them, even though these guys are on shield wall and getting a 65% missile block. So here you can see very clearly, Panda Warrior has been surrounding Yawning Firefly. And Hearthguard fighting up against Royal Thanes. Sayax Warriors charging into the back. Very dangerous to have a unit of Sayax Warriors in your back. The Royal Thanes are losing decisively now, dropping so quickly. And there aren't any units available to support them, really. Now the Scout Cav takes out the unit, pulls out. Another unit of Saxon Cav going into the Feared Archers. Axes in the forest, being charged here by sword veterans. But since they are supported by axe warriors and the Saxon Cav, they're going to be able to remove the axes very, very quickly. And this is something I like about Charlemagne. The units have very distinct roles on the battlefield. So you see swords being used, you see axes being used, and you see spears being used, and they have to be used together in order to be effective. And another decisive victory there for Panda Warrior. It seems like Yawning Firefly just concedes. Look at the kills on the Saxon cavalry, compare that to the kills of the horsemen. The noble javelins didn't do too much, but they killed against the Royal Thanes. And the Royal Thanes, even though there are 5 elite sword units on the field here and only 1 for the Saxons, Panda just outplayed Yawning Firefly in this battle. A great example of how to use a faction. When you have the Saxons in this case, ironically, they have the cavalry advantage, and Panda Warrior used that really well. They do not have the infantry advantage. The skirmish is about equal, but the way this cavalry was used, very nicely done. Strength and honor.